Morning.
Morning.
I'd like to first welcome back Sensei Keith Kato, returned from Tokudo last week and joining us today as our Chosho. And wow, last night we had the first ever 7-temple entire district chicken throwdown here at the Vetsuin, and it was a huge success. Last year, some of you may remember that Stockton reluctantly participated. We had 6 of the 7 temples participating. Reverend Motoyoshi even said that her temple, their chicken is terrible. And they really didn't want to participate. And then they walked away with the prize. Well, this year, the winner was Walnut Grove. Walnut Grove won the first place for the NC District Chicken Throwdown, and their chicken was good. But, after eating so many different teriyaki chicken, I couldn't tell after a while. They were all good. So the judges had a hard choice to make, I know, because it was all good. In March of 2012, I was invited to speak at the Bay District Junior YBA Conference, and their theme was, "May the Dharma be with you." May the Dharma be with you. And I thought, what a clever theme, "May the Dharma be with you." And last week when Furumoto Sensei spoke about the imagery of Star Wars reflecting the Dharma, I thought it would be good to revisit this wonderful connection between Star Wars and the Buddha Dharma. That YBA conference theme, "May the Dharma be with you," is of course a takeoff on the famous phrase from the original Star Wars movie, and they would say, "May the Force be with you." Han Solo famously used this phrase when he and Luke Skywalker were having that last conversation before Luke went off to fly out to destroy the Death Star. Han Solo was repairing the Millennium Falcon, and Luke was upset with him because he wasn't planning to stay to fight with the rebels against the Empire. And then Han Solo's parting words were, remember this? "Hey kid, may the Force be with you." After that Star Wars movie was released, that picture, that phrase, "May the Force be with you," was everywhere. It was on billboards, it was on bumper stickers, on T-shirts, it was everywhere. And that movie came out in May of 1977. So Star Wars came out long before any of our Dharma school students here today were born. When Star Wars came out, I was 28 years old. Yow. I had hair. Well, it turns out that George Lucas was very much influenced and inspired by Buddhism in creating both the theme and the characters. So much so is there a connection that a book actually came out, and Anju and Gracie Matayoshi gave this to me last year, "The Dharma of Star Wars." It's interesting. The person who wrote this, he loves Star Wars, clearly, truly loves Star Wars, and very, very much is one who practices the Dharma. So he did a good job. But I was thinking, so many subliminal messages in this too. Jedi Obi-Wan describes the mysterious force as an energy field that created by all living things. It surrounds and penetrates all living things and binds the galaxy together. That's his quote. An energy field created by all living things. It surrounds and penetrates all living things and binds the galaxy together. It is an image describing the unity, the oneness of all things, not just the oneness of life, but the oneness of the universe. This force binds the galaxy together. Many of the names that were used in the movie they hint at having other meanings, subliminal meanings, like Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi. If you think about it, just get the feel for it. It's like, all be one. Can we be? All be one. Can we be? And Yoda, Master Yoda's name, brings to mind yoga. Almost immediately, I think we all thought of yoga, which is a Sanskrit word meaning to join together. On one level, it means joining together the body and the mind. But at the greater meaning of the word yoga, it means loving compassion, joining all things together. And then consider most obviously Princess Amidala. And her character embodies both understanding and caring, wisdom and compassion. She was also called Padme, right? Padme. And this is the Sanskrit word, Padma is the Sanskrit word for lotus, which is the flower of enlightenment, the flower of enlightenment. And her great compassion embraces and does not reject even the one who will become Darth Vader. So, as I mentioned earlier, Obi-Wan Kenobi describes the mysterious force as an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds and penetrates all things and binds the galaxy together. But unlike the force, there is no dark side to the Dharma. There is no dark side to the Dharma. The Dharma is not a force. The Dharma is reality. The Dharma is truth. We are only living in the dark when our eyes are closed. We're only living in the dark when our eyes are closed. All we need to do is open our eyes, and if we do, we will find that the whole world is constantly teaching us the Dharma. The whole world is constantly teaching us what is true. Before making Star Wars, George Lucas invited Joseph Campbell to spend time with him at the Lucas Ranch to discuss the concept. And some of you may have heard of Joseph Campbell before. He was probably the most well-known authority on the religions and mythologies of humanity in the last century, and his influence is significant in the creation of Star Wars. And as I've often shared, Joseph Campbell's definition of Buddhism happens to be one of my favorites. In his words, Buddhism is that teaching that takes us from ignorance to illumination. That teaching that takes us from ignorance to illumination. And I've always liked that image, that teaching that takes us to illumination. In other words, the Dharma brings us out of the dark. The Dharma opens our eyes, and with Dharma eyes open, we look within and begin to know who we are. With Dharma eyes open, we begin to look around us and see the world truly as it is. No illusions. The Dharma is not virtual reality. The Dharma is reality. It is actually very simple. Each of us knows the essential teachings of Buddhism very well. And the Buddha would say, open your eyes, look around, and see the reality that everything is impermanent. And yet, at the same time, all things are interdependent and interconnected in the oneness of life. My Metta Padma students should all know this well, that the whole world is teaching us that everything is constantly changing. Nothing is forever. And yet also, as Socho Gui, our previous bishop of BCA, would often say, our lives are not just our lives. Our lives are made up of the kindness, patience, and sacrifices of others. In other words, we are all interdependent. All life and all things are interwoven in the karmic fabric of the universe. Staying with the Star Wars analogy, the dark side of the Force is our selfishness. Our selfishness. Yoda explained that the dark side is fueled by anger, jealousy, fear, and hate. These are nothing less than what Buddhism calls the three poisons: greed, anger, ignorance. Yes, the three poisons are all about selfishness and living trying only to fulfill our own self-centered desires, not realizing that we are all connected and that the world does not revolve around me. In the Four Noble Truths, the Buddha taught that it is our selfishness that is the cause of our own suffering. Living selfishly, living with our lives being just self-centered is the path to unhappiness. Living our lives being self-centered is the path to unhappiness. It is the path to the dark side. Did you hear that? Living our lives self-centered is the path to the dark side, is the path to unhappiness. Let me put this another way, and this is one of the few guarantees I make, and I usually share this with our graduating seniors, our high school students. Living selfishly is not only the path to the dark side and to our unhappiness, but here's the guarantee. If we live our lives selfishly, if we live our lives centered only on ourselves, then I guarantee we will fail at every love relationship we will have in life. Guaranteed. And then we are truly living on the dark side, failing at every love relationship because we are living selfishly. When I was younger, my friends and I, we approached love very passively. I thought we didn't really think of love as being something that you have to be other-centered and also actively involved in creating. And it was very passive. We thought we'd make ourselves into an irresistible, adorable package of popularity, and then someone would just come along and just can't help but love us, just love us to pieces. It was very passive. So here was my plan. I was going to make myself into the most irresistible and adorable package of cuteness, place myself on the shelf, on the aisle of love, in the supermarket of life. So there I am, the aisle of love, on the shelf, supermarket of life, just looking so adorable. And I would just wait for some wonderful girl to come along and say, "Oh my, just look at that. I'm just going to have to take him home and love him to pieces." But love cannot be selfish, and it cannot be passive. Love and to be loved requires first that we know ourselves. Knowing ourselves is essential to being in any relationship. And this brings us to the primary exercise of Buddhism. The primary exercise is self-examination, knowing who we are. A wonderful Buddhist teacher, Dr. Nobuo Haneda, often would say, there's only one person we need to meet and know in our lives, and that person is ourselves. In Star Wars, when Luke was being trained by Master Yoda on Dagobah, there's a scene when Luke must enter the cave of the dark side. You remember that? He must enter the cave of the dark side. And Luke asked Master Yoda, "What's in there?" And Yoda's response, "Only what you take in with you." Only what you take in with you. In the dark, in that cave, Luke encounters and kills Darth Vader with his lightsaber, only to find that when Vader's helmet bursts open, Luke is looking at himself. This is his first hint that what he fears and what he needs to encounter and what he needs to know, first of all, is himself. Knowing ourselves isn't just a good idea. Knowing who we are is major. It is essential. It is so important because what's at stake is nothing less than our happiness. What's at stake here is nothing less than our happiness. So, let me recap here. What is our primary exercise? Self-examination. We need to know ourselves first. Why? So that we can begin to make those life-shaping decisions that will lead us to happiness. with an awareness of who we are. And putting this all together, understanding that the Dharma is simply universal truth, that the theme, may the Dharma be with you, can be rephrased to mean, may the truth be with us. May the truth be with us. May we always live seeing clearly things as they are. May we always live not in ignorance, but in illumination. May the Dharma always be a mirror that helps us to know who we are. The Dharma is always with us. All we need to do is to open our eyes. So with that kind of Furumoto Sensei inspired and the book from Andrew and Gracie Matayoshi, I'd like to thank you for coming today. And if you're interested, really look at the movies and think about how much Dharma is actually in the Star Wars movies. In closing, please join me in Gassho. May the Dharma be with you can be rephrased to mean, may the truth be with us. May we always live seeing clearly things as they are. May we always live not in ignorance, but in illumination. The Dharma is always with us. We just need to open our eyes. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.